Hey guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. This is our last open studio session of the session, and it's been a great day. I've really enjoyed this. I was just saying to our guest George that I could never complain about doing this because I love just doing what we do. I mean, sitting and talking to people about their lives. Are you kidding me? I'd do this for free. You don't have to pay me. You can pay me if you want to. Joining me is Jules. Jules, you right?
Yep, fine, thank you. Yep.
How have you found today?
Really, really good, actually. I think I love these open session days because we get a lot of guests, which is brilliant. It obviously gives you a whole week's worth of shows to share without having to do, recordings over each day. So it's a one-hit blast, but it's really good. And obviously doing it over Zoom in the current environment is an ideal opportunity. And we can reach a little bit further outside the outskirts of town, so to speak, and cover perhaps some other people in Shropshire or certainly associated links to Shrewsbury, even if they're not in the town.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
around the world.
Exactly.
All around the world. Joining us today is George Bilcliffe, photographer, picture editor, and I've been watching your videos, and I got so excited by this because I can take a good picture, right? I spoke to James Warman, who's on our he's being released on Monday. Great photographer, but I thought I always wondered, like, how can you have a conversation with a photographer? What can you talk about? Turns out you can talk about quite a lot.
Huge amount.
Yeah, because what you guys do is something that not everybody can do, right? Because you can give the same two cameras to two different people, and they'll do different things with it when they.
Definitely.
Yeah. So when did you find out that you could do this then? That you were going to do this as a thing?
Oh, the story of George, eh? Well, I think actually I ended up using my sister's camera when I was 10, something like that. And it kind of snowballed from there. And I started realizing, okay, she's not really using it, so I'll use it for a bit. And year after year, you kind of start trying different things and working out more. And then you're on YouTube, like, how do I take black and white photos? How do I do long exposures? All that sort of stuff. So you end up sort of learning over the years. And then I ended up getting my first camera, my first DSLR when I was 15, 16. And kind of went from there. So I've been doing photography for a good while, amongst other things that Jules, I'm sure, knows a lot about now. So yeah, I've been doing it for a good while. Good while. The editing side of things has been more recent. I think, especially with COVID, it's. I suppose everyone's at home. I'm at home. Really, I can't really interact with businesses like I normally would. So it's another avenue to another string to the bow, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what I like asking this to photographers when you're under pressure. Obviously, there's not a lot of weddings going on or concerts or anything like that. Yeah. But those money shots, those shots that matter. How do you deal with that? The ones that like the throwing of the bouquet or the strumming of the guitar, the power slide, all these sort of things.
The major stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually. I'll be honest. I've never done a wedding. I've never. I decided that there is too much pressure. Also, although there's a lot of money in it. It's the fact that you're there for one day, and dare I say you can't really build a long-term relationship with the clients. So for me, it's more working with businesses and individuals and helping people out as much as I can, as opposed to just here, have your photos, off you go. It's different. I have done a few shoots where it's you need to get the shot, especially with businesses, because at the end of the day, if they're using it for product promotion or social media. When you go to a shoot, the client already has that photo that they want in their head, and they've got it there. So what you're trying to do as a photographer is come along, ask them the right questions, work out exactly what they're wanting, and then produce that. And I think that's the hardest thing is giving them exactly what they want, as opposed to, it's okay, it's all right, it'll do. And that's where I think the difference comes in a way. It's hard. It is hard.
It is difficult. I mean, like, for example, right? I see my face in the mirror every morning, right? When I have a shower, suddenly I look at myself and I'm like, ugh, it's the norm, right? I see it every day. It's nothing special to me. But taking your camera and taking this and whatever I'm doing and turning it into something special that will, attract people towards you is a skill.
Yeah.
That is a skill because, like I said,
it's luck, really. You just hold the trigger on the camera and hope for the best. No, it takes time and it takes practice. And I think the more you do it, like any skill, you get better at it and you start realizing what works, what doesn't work. For me, I think the biggest thing is lighting and time of day. If you haven't got good lighting, at the end of the day, the camera can only do so much. So you've got to kind of balance that out, find the right time, right place, right people, and kind of mush it all together and hope it sticks.
Mush it all together. I love that.
But is there a thing, because they say, don't they, like, with artists, be them photographers, painters, etc., that it's about having an eye for stuff as well. You hear that saying, don't you? Or people have got an eye for that. So, I mean, what in your mind, what does that phrase actually mean to you?
Question. I've got an eye for it. I think, in a way, there's certain rules with humanity that we find aesthetically pleasing. So I think ultimately it's about seeing what those things are and then getting your camera to capture what that is. And that's having the eye for it, is being able to look at a scene. But you know what? That looks good. That just innately looks good. It's a nice scene, or the lighting's great. And it's about then using your tool, the camera, to capture that.
There's this real great moment in my life that I always remember. I've been there a couple of times, but there's this place in Colombia. My wife's from Colombia, so we go there sometimes. And there's this place called Monserrate. It's a little bit of a hill. I don't know if it's a mountain quite, but I'd say it's a mountain. And from the top there, you can see the whole of Bogota. I mean it, the whole city. It's one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. And we're all stood there with our phone cameras. We're all kind of like, oh, look at this, touristy and sort of stuff. There were people people with us that had big cameras. My wife had a phone. I think it was a Samsung S3. I think it was. I don't know. And I just bam, focus, bam, take the picture. Another one, bam, focus, bang, take a picture. We got home and I'd taken the best pictures. And there's this debate going on about whether it was the phone, whether it was the camera that was playing up, my wife, or whether it was I was just a genius. I like to think.
Pure genius.
I'm a genius. And there are just moments where the clouds just sort of part, the sun comes through, the cloud, the planets align, and you just hit that perfect sweet spot. You know what I mean? I think that is a skill. It's got to be a skill.
I think so, but also that these days, because everything is edited, like every shot in every magazine is edited. There's always some magic that goes on behind the scene, and I think it's hard for people starting in photography because they take a photo, they look at it in the back of the camera, and it isn't what they want it to be, and suddenly they're comparing themselves to these pros who've got the best kit, taking incredible photos just in the camera, and then they're able to take it home, put it on Photoshop, and they turn it into something completely different. And I mean, I've worked with in the past with, like, I've worked with Jules doing tuition. I've done some editing tuition before with people, and it's scary what you can do with what would seem is a mediocre photo. You can turn it from looking rubbish, like really, really grey, there's not much going on, and then suddenly you've got a completely different background. The sky's changed. You can throw in people, you could throw in birds, you can do all sorts of stuff. So I think it's hard to get started if you are trying to compare yourself, I suppose, to those people who've been doing it for years.
But it's also, I suppose, like you say, in terms of like the ability to change a photo to that degree, that people, if you go in with the knowledge that actually whatever I take, however good my camera is, it's not going to look like X, Y, and Z, because in my head, I know that people will be tampering with photography. And you know that from all of the sort of more like, your glossy magazines with all the models in it.
Vogue and GQ.
It's like, blimey, she doesn't look like that in that like dodgy paparazzi shot that they've taken.
Yeah.
But yet in a magazine, she's like, it's a completely different lady. And I think, you know, for me, sometimes the downside of that sort of stuff, and not just with pictures of women, but pictures of men as well, is that's where that leads to insecurities then in people, because they've got this vision that that's what people really look like, that's what people should look like. And then that obviously creates a whole different set of anxieties in you know, certain individuals or people that feel that they've got to look a certain way or be a certain way. You know, so I think for me, you know, the pros and cons of editing, they're basically, it's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it?
It is.
And I think that was amplified with things like Instagram and Snapchat. You know, you went for the dog face phase where people using that stupid dog filter, and it was just like, it was everywhere. I think I did it a few times. You know what I mean? Because I like the lighting. You know, I didn't care much for the tongue coming up my mouth, but I was like, oh, yeah. You know, it was just a crazy phase where people just doing all these filters where you could make yourself look younger, you can make your skin look smoother and things like that. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a big fan. I like a filter. I like a filter for an occasion, but not for every day. Like, oh, look at me, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the most used filter I use on Instagram is the first one. Which one is it? It makes everything look brighter. That's it. That's what I tend to use. That's about it.
Brightens it up.
Yeah. What are the?
Make out. I know what you're talking about now as well. So.
Yeah.
Does it even do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're on about.
I'm gonna need to find out what it's called now.
I'm gonna have a look now.
Okay.
Oh, you too.
Oh, I'm not going to do it. No. So,
Clarendon.
Oh, that
Clarendon.
thing that comes up, right? Yeah.
With my bright white walls, it looks amazing.
In terms of obviously the work that you're doing with sort of pictures and that, and obviously you're taking lots of photos. Just one because of your own learning experience, you know, then helping others learn for work that you do in that. Is there, in the whole time that you've been doing photography, is there one picture that stands out for you as like, that was it, you know, thus far?
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, there could be more to come, obviously, but
I hope so.
Already, is there one that you could say today is like, that's it, and why?
Ooh. I think, that's a really good question. There's a lot of photos.
What about genre then? If it's a genre, if there's more of a genre.
I really like landscapes, but I like to sort of throw different things into it. Editing does come into it a lot more now than it used to, but that's partially because of the things I wanted to do. Like with my partner, I've started to do landscapes with her lying on we actually used an old shopping basket. You turn it upside down. She was lying on it on this beach. And then in editing, you get rid of the shopping basket. So it looks like she's floating. And usually you have like the model with their face really close to the floor. And like face down, legs up or whatever. And it looks, I think it naturally, if you look at it and you didn't know it was editing, it just feels a bit, I don't know. I like creating that sort of feeling in people when they look at a photo. And also a lot of people are finding, not questioning, are like, is that edited? How's that been done? Like, what's the deal with that? And I quite enjoy the photo manipulation side of things. But for one photo, I found,
I was going to say, well, you think on that one because obviously, like you say, you've probably taken not thousands but millions. But you talking about that sort of like the use of different tools or, you know, playing around with stuff that you edit out. What I found fascinating when you did your tutorial day with me was because I'd never even seen that, the ball. See, now for me as a complete novice with not having any sort of like, you know, any idea of or about photography in the way that you do, that to me was like a genius piece of equipment. I was like, this is amazing what you can do with this. It's not a crystal. Well, describe it to Al.
I'll grab it. It's right here.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant. It is so cool.
I think I know what you're on about.
It's like a glass crystal ball.
Yeah.
And then when you take a picture of it, the picture's reversed upside down, and
it's just a.
Yeah.
But you could the face is obviously upside down.
That's it, upside down.
But then in editing, you could turn that the right way up so that it looks right, if that makes sense. You've got the whole world into a small.
It's nice. I like that.
That's amazing. I thought that was really cool.
I do need to play with sort of cameras and some photography, because I do feel I appreciate it. I think that's the most important thing. It's not that I feel like I'm good at it or I feel like I've got a skill. Is I'll look at a photo and I will feel for it. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I feel like the emotion in the picture. Especially when it comes to like I don't know. I'm drawn to noir, sort of the black and white sort of
black and white.
Yeah, I really am drawn to that.
Right.
And sometimes I'll look at a scenery picture and I'm just like, oh, I was watching Night. This is it may be irrelevant, but I don't know. I was watching Nightcrawler last night. It's a series on Netflix about a serial killer, and all they were doing was doing drone shots of an old car driving through LA. And I was like, how have they taken just like driving through traffic and made it look creepy? Like, it's crazy how you can do that, you know? It's just
music. There was a really like dark music playing at the same time.
Yeah,
it's usually at the day.
But even without it, it's just kind of like slowly meandering through LA. It's just like, what? What was the first moment for you as a professional photographer?
I wouldn't say professional.
No. What was the moment for you where you were like, oh my god, this is a big deal? Oh my god, this is it now. This is the big time.
I'll be honest. I'm a jack of trades. I like to do lots of different things. So I enjoy the variety of life. And I mean, to answer your question in a very convoluted way, I suppose I don't know whether I've actually thought, this is it. This is what I want to do for every day from now on. I really, really, really enjoy doing it. And I enjoy meeting people. And I enjoy creating art. I suppose that's what it is. But there's so much more to do as well. Like I could do that. So much to do.
Yeah, nice.
That doesn't really answer your question, though, does it?
No, but like you've
know what I mean.
You took my question. You dissolved it with your optimism. Yeah,
I suppose so. I'll go with that.
Yeah, that works.
Kind of does.
I've got lots of different things going on. Like by trade, I'm a survival and bushcraft instructor. So I'm trying to get Shropshire bushcraft off the ground, and I'm hopefully, touch wood, getting a site sorted in the next week or so. So I want to get out and do that again.
Explain, elaborate. What's all that about?
I like the woods. I like the woods. I like teaching. I like educating people in things that they've probably never done before. And I've been doing it basically as long as I can remember. I've been wanting to push into that sort of field. I was out in New Zealand working as a survival instructor out there. Came back, was living in Stoke, and found that there wasn't really anyone doing it anywhere nearby. Because I was thinking, you know what? Come back. I'll just go and work for a company somewhere doing what I do. But there's no one doing it. So I thought maybe I should set up my own thing. But this was 2 years ago, and I kind of have expended a lot of time trying to find a site to use. And it's only till recently, I was actually listening to BBC Radio Shropshire on the way home. And I sent them a text because they were saying, hey, if you've got any issues, just send us a message. We'll see if we can help. I just said, look, I'm a bushcraft instructor. I really want to set up my own site. I just don't have the land and I need to rent something off someone. And they took me onto the show. So I did a chat on the show a couple of weeks back. And from that, I've now had an article in the Shropshire Star. And I'm back on the radio beginning of February. And I've had, 3 or 4 potential sites, which I'm seeing this coming week. So
nice.
I'm really, optimistic that one of those will be right, and then I can knock down on that. I'll definitely keep doing the photography and the editing. But
you did a foraging course as well, though, didn't you?
Yeah,
sort of before lockdown. When was that in?
That was October,
wasn't it? Yeah.
I would struggle with stuff like this, by the way, because I love it, by the way. But if Bear Grylls come up to me and was like, "You need to start. You need to drink your own urine. Please do this now," I'd be like, "No, I would rather die. Thank you very much."
No. I don't get on with Bear Grylls. I don't. He's fine. He's fine in that. He's like, okay, if the proverbial poo has hit the fan, I can understand some of it, but the fact that he's, I don't know.
Are you more Ray Mears? Are you more affiliated with Ray Mears? Yeah.
Ray Mears. Yeah, there we go.
He's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah.
I remember.
They always say trust a fat survivalist, don't they? So it's a good thing.
That's obviously got to have a grain of truth in it somewhere, though, isn't it?
There was a meme going around a while ago of the difference between the two, and there's Bear Grylls, squeezing elephant dung and drinking water off your thumb, and then there's Ray Mears underneath with like a salmon filleted over the fire with thyme over the top and things. Just the difference is fantastic. Great.
I always remember it was like I'm a Celebrity or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And somebody took as their luxury item salt, and I thought it was the most ingenious thing I've ever seen. Salt. Wow. It's genius. Bear Grylls is a funny one. I remember he was in Scotland, and it was like freezing cold. I think it was Scotland. It was snowing. It was windy, and he's like, "Yeah, you just dig a hole and lie in it."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, that doesn't." Is this a grave? Great. What have you just done? Like, you buried yourself. Oh god. Well, how have you been finding lockdown? Obviously, for a photographer that jack of all trades, like you said, but likes to document life and be a part of it. By the sounds of it, it's not really been many possibilities for you. How's that been?
It's been difficult to. I suppose because we've come from like we're in lockdown, we're not, we're in, we're not, we're in, we're not, and there's hopping between the two makes it very difficult to kind of focus your energies on a specific aspect of business, really. So it's been difficult, but then I suppose in a way it's made me realize that there's always a way around something. There's always a way around a problem, and there's always a means to an end. So it's why I started to do more sort of tuition things, because it's limited, it's outside, and then the editing side of things more so than events. The events aren't running. But it's been difficult, but it's not been too bad. It's been all right. It can always be worse.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot, by the way, because since moving into my apartment, I've got internet again. I can play on my Xbox. I can watch Netflix. I can do this. I can edit. I can do whatever I want, right? It's like, I get the mental health issues that are going on with lockdown, but it's such a first world problem for us to be like, I can't cope with this. And you got unlimited movies and TV, you've got One Division just started on Disney now. Crack on, enjoy. You know?
There you go.
You know what I mean? There's people literally started their own businesses, built their own empires during lockdown. But I mean, it depends what you strive towards. You know, if you want to go out there and be around people, and that is your thing, it's hard. You know,
I think it's for me. Like my family's had a fair amount of military ancestry. Like a lot of people have been in the forces, and recently I was editing. I recolored an old black and white photo of my great uncle. We're not entirely sure. Basil Leonard Bilcliffe, solid name. And I recolored that sort of that photo of him stood in his First World War kit, and I think for me it made me realize, like you're saying, it's a serious first world problem that we're having in some respect. We're not in the trenches. We're not being shelled by the Germans. We're not being gassed. Like, yes, things are different, and they're not as free as maybe they have been. But you've got to look for the light at the end of the tunnel, and you've got to make the most of what you've got here right now. You know. Yeah.
And I'm saying on the majority, by the way, the people that have lost their businesses, lost their loved ones, and mental health issues. I'm not. This is a dig at you, by the way. I'm just saying, like, most people are complaining about the wrong reasons. That's fair to say. I think
so.
And we were just having I love this, by the way, because there are guests. I've said this a couple of times recently, actually. I think it's because I've been in a bit of a lull lately with my mental health. I think a lot of people that work with me and around me and know, and I've come out of it since I moved here. There's been a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and I feel like I really just want to talk to people at the moment, right? And sometimes there'll be like a little spark, a little something that I'll see when I'm researching my guests, and I see you editing this picture that you're just talking about. And I was like, oh, we can geek out about editors and about editing. And that's it. That's all I need. I have written no notes for this, like all day.
Nothing.
This is the whole day's work. And for you, I've written nothing because I thought, let's just talk about editing. What a great way to disappear, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I really enjoy
it. So I understand. Well, I say I don't understand, but I know that obviously Al's type of editing that he does for the podcasts is more of an audio thing, obviously.
I mean, I make my own logos.
I know you do your logos and your pictures. Yeah, you do that because obviously that goes with each of the the podcasts that you put out. But ultimately, your editing is all about chopping out background noises and doing all that fancy stuff with that, with the great big console thing you've got. And those. So you do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, George, your editing is against photographs. And certainly that World War One, it's World War One, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, World War One picture that you did. Yeah, because I've seen that go up on your site, the pictures. So is your, because you've said at the moment editing is the main thing that you can do quite easily because you don't have to go anywhere to do it.
Yeah.
So in terms of the type of editing that you're doing at the moment, is it taking people's old photographs and sort of modernising them or bringing them up to date with colour? Or what is it you're doing at the moment with your editing?
Almost solely the recoloring stuff, the restoration. There's. I think there's a lot of photos out there now which are very rapidly deteriorating and will be lost. And most families, especially in England, have access to some sort of old photo of a loved one.
Yeah.
And once they're gone. So for me, there's almost like a real desire to try and hold on to their life in a way. I think it's very important to look back at our past to move forwards and not lose that understanding and wisdom. So I'm trying to push that recoloring as much as I can.
And
it's important.
In terms of the start photo, can you pretty much work with anything? A really badly faded photo that's got lots of scratch marks on it and all that. Can you like work with anything, or do you have to have a fairly decent start base, so to speak?
You can work with most photos. It's obviously the more damage there is to a photo, or let's say like you're saying it's faded. If it's faded and there's nothing there, that's what you've got to work with. But scratches, I've even had to rebuild complete sort of face. Someone's had a photo and half their face is gone, so you have to try and rebuild faces. You can work with most.
Because water damage is a lot of things, isn't it? You sort of people say about on photos and that. So I suppose that's a common sort of start point. There must be editing tools now to definitely work around that sort of stuff.
Yeah. There's usually a way of editing most damage out, I would say. Main thing is just like dust and minor scratches that the moment you get rid of those, suddenly the photo looks like it was taken yesterday.
Oh wow. Yeah. And in terms of the editing tools, because you two was talking just before obviously the show started and before I jumped on the Zoom call, you two were obviously talking about editing tools, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
The pair of you. So
we were.
Yeah. What editing tools are out there then? Say for Joe Public like me that doesn't do what you two do, but wanted to muck about with their photos. So obviously, George, you were talking about it, the challenge that you did recently for those of us in your group. And my start point, how on earth do I do a black and white photo without realising I don't have to? I can just take a picture and then do it afterwards.
After post-process, yeah.
Yes. But then trying to find something that I could do. And I couldn't find, I heard you talk about Adobe, Al, and I did find Adobe free, but then it was a very hard process to try and I had to go through loads of different things and downloads.
And probably illegal process to get.
I did Adobe free, and then I thought this isn't actually free because it's telling me I've got to do X, Y, and Z first, and it was like this is too long and too laborious to now try and set up. Then I looked at there was another one, and again it wasn't. Hang on, this isn't free either. They're all saying they're free, but actually they aren't.
Deep down,
with the laptop came good old Microsoft Photos, so I just use that. At the end, I thought, well, at least it can switch stuff about. But I'm sure that that's not the ultimate tool. But
before we get into this, I don't want to in any way compare myself to George because I've been watching his videos. This guy's a genius. I make silly little logos. I was just showing you some of my logos. I don't edit photos the way you do, George. So we're not in the same bracket.
We're different. It's fine. Everyone's. Yeah. There's no hierarchy.
Well, no. I would say for your phone, the best thing I ever used that was free was a thing called PixArt. Yeah. And it's free, and it will be like, hey, you want to buy premium? Hey, you want to buy premium? But if you just hit XXX, once you get into there, there's lots of free, really good features on that for your phone. So PixArt is great. Now we were talking about the different programs we use. So for a professional like George or someone who really genuinely is a great editor, Adobe is great. It's expensive, but if that's what you do as a job, it's definitely an investment. I use something that's called Affinity, which is kind of an in-betweeny one. Affinity, I use graphics. There's photo. There's all sorts of different versions. It's a lot cheaper than Adobe. I don't know if they do the same things, though. What do you say, George? I mean, I don't know.
I would say they're very similar in their structure and the tools that you have at hand. And they kind of have the same process, like in Photoshop and Affinity, they've all got layers that you can build up and do different things on different layers. So they're similar in that respect. I'd have to go on Affinity, and I just couldn't get to grips with it. It was, it's all different shapes, different little symbols for like your brush and stuff.
Yeah, it's what you get used to. I mean, it's Android and iTunes, isn't it? And Android, that's the thing. But there's plenty out there for free.
What's the free one? That's so if people did want to get into trying to do stuff but didn't want to spend out initially. Or is it a utopia that free ones don't actually, or decent free ones don't exist?
I mean, PixArt. I think you can get PixArt for your laptop and your tablet as well. So if you want to get that, you can.
There's one I had on my phone. I'll see if I can find it. Keep talking. I'll be there.
There was one with the icon which was a bulldog, and I can't remember what his name was. But you could literally make GIFs with that one, and I've used that one before. But for videos, I use Kden Live. Which is a good free bit of software, which you can make. All my videos that have ever been released have been made with KDEN Live. Kden Live. It's free.
I don't do videos, but
I think it's called Guppy or something like that. There's one. Have I still got it? It was.
I've heard of that.
Is it Guppy or?
There's
Gappy?
quite a few. If you just go to the Apple Store, or what is it for Android?
I don't know. I've only got Apple.
I just search for like a photo editor. There's usually quite a lot.
But that's for the. Is that for the phone or is that for a laptop or desktop? It's more about that's what I'm thinking. For people that want to do stuff and then do it on a desktop or a laptop.
Yeah. I think you can get PixArt, can't you? On.
Yeah, you can get PixArt. You can get PixArt. You can use it on a tablet and all sorts. Yeah, I used to think I was like a pro designer because I'd have my stylus and I'd have my tablet and I'd be like, "Ooh, look at this thing!" I did make some good. This logo I made. Well, the Shoes Biscuit logo I made on PixArt.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So you can do good stuff with it. I mean, this logo is good to us now. Like this is going to be our life.
Yeah.
You can do good stuff with photos. All you got really for PixArt is a few sort of you can like put like writing and stuff like that and a few filters. You could probably change the color on there, but you really if you wanted to do something really decent with it, you'd have to definitely go to sort of Affinity as a starter and Adobe as something that's a bit better.
Yeah, like you said, if you want to move into a bit more professionally. Yeah.
But is it? Go on, sorry.
Sorry. Oh, no, I was going to say that on Adobe, I think it's like £9.50 a month, gives you Photoshop and their photo editor called Lightroom. So you get both of those.
Lightroom is what I went to look at. Yeah.
As a package, which is what I have. And in grand scheme of things, I think if it's something that you're really wanting to get better at and use, best to use solid tools.
Of course.
Get the results.
I mean, there are a lot of photographers out there that are probably screaming now, going, "What about this? And what about that?" but most people.
But they're not on the show, are they?
Adobe is very popular, though. Definitely go try that out.
Yeah.
If you can afford it, by the way. If you want the full Adobe suite, you better have a thick. Oh God, you better have a thick wallet. It's something like it's about hundreds. You're talking hundreds for the whole Adobe.
Oh, everything.
Oh, Adobe covers everything. There's Adobe Video, there's Adobe Audio, there's all sorts going on there. So
I'm guessing it's a one-off payment, though, is it?
You can do it like that, or there are subscription, like George said, there was some.
Right, I'm with you. Yeah.
It's a bit like your old version of Sky TV. Imagine like for so much, you get so many packages or so many programs, and you pay a bit more, you get the sports channels, and you pay a little bit more. That's pretty much
right. I'm with you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Add-ons.
Add-ons. Yeah. So George, right? Say lockdown ends tomorrow. It ends tomorrow. The world is open. So miraculously, everyone's free. What does George go and do?
Oh, you know what I want to do right now? So my family live up in Orkney, in the Orkney Islands, north of Scotland, and I haven't seen them for a good long while now. Even when we were in between lockdowns, haven't had a chance to get up there because the Scottish border's been doing strange things, and then it was hit and miss whether we can or can't. So we haven't actually gone up there. So it would be, for me, it would be straight up to see the family. Freedom, time out, I suppose.
And what about professionally? Would you be more looking for your survival thing or the photography thing, or both?
Both, 100%. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm a bit maybe different in the way that I see the world, but I think it's in some ways it's a shame that a lot of kids are brought up. They go to school, they go to university to study law or something like that, and then they go straight into that job, and that's what they do. And if they love it, absolutely fantastic. Like, good on them for doing that. But I feel like there's too much to do. Why limit yourself to one thing and the 9 to 5 rat race? I think do what makes you happy at the end of the day. If you get hit by a bus tomorrow,
so very true.
It's important to just follow your goals, your dreams. And to answer the question, I think I would probably do both. I would 100%. Yeah.
Very nice.
But you could probably do both, couldn't you? Because you could be doing the bushcraft, and then when people are doing what they've learned from you, you could be taking photos of them.
Exactly.
Doing all that sort of stuff. So, see how.
Here's an important question, and I was asking this because I've recently spoken to another. I've been seeing other photographers, George. I'm very sorry. But
words.
I was talking about the value of the photograph, right? Because when we were kids, right, you take a photo, you go and get it developed, you look at it, you put it on the wall because you go and went for all that trouble, right? Whereas now, everybody on social media, I've definitely got thousands of pictures on my Facebook. I've got like 15,000 pictures on my laptop and hard drive. They just sit there, they do nothing. I choose a couple. I mean, I've got literally two photographs I can see right in front of me right now. 3, sorry. And that's it. Do you think that means we value pictures more or less? Those pictures we put on the wall, do we value them more or do we value them less?
I think they're becoming a commodity, aren't they, really? Photography. When you think that, like I was saying about the recoloring of the old black and whites, there's only one photo. That would have been like a family photo, a big event to go and get the whole family photographed, and they would have stored those for however long they needed them for. And I think they are becoming a commodity. I think good photography is still as difficult to take, arguably.
Right. Okay. So
arguably,
we're talking about that money shot. That one shot you need to take and get perfect. My wife took this picture of me, and it's me with one of my biggest heroes on the planet. That's Kevin Smith.
Mickey Mouse.
Right? Oh. Me and Kevin Smith. Look at the face I am pulling on this picture. I look like a sexual deviant. Look at this one. This is me with Ralph Garman, smiling.
Look at you with your bloody wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Donald Trump up there with you.
So yeah. I'll have to meet Kevin Smith again and get a picture of him in the world over.
Get a better one. It's scary though, because I was looking at because I'm due an upgrade on my phone, and I was looking at the megapixels for the camera on it just out of interest. I was thinking that's not really that far off my DSLR, like in terms of quality of shot. Thinking,
it's all about the digital. There's a better zoom in those cameras, though, right? Right in. Whereas with the phone, it's kind of like we'll just guess what the depth the depth is. You know,
the depth of field. That's one thing I have noticed is people will take. You can definitely tell when you've got somebody who's taking a selfie from their phone and they've got that blown out background, a nice depth of field. But it's like it's almost cut. You know what I mean? You can.
Yeah.
It doesn't merge back nice and smoothly, so you can tell the difference. And usually the camera mucks up and there's like a tree that's in focus that should be focused. Something like
that. Do you know of any sort of local photography clubs that you've maybe been a part of, that you know of, that where people can go and learn how to be a good photographer, or it's just life?
Just life. I know there is a Shropshire Photography Society. I think they've got a Facebook page. I haven't actually been with them. I just know of them. There's a new one that started up as well, which is also Shropshire Photographers. Something like that. It's all on Facebook now, isn't it? I know they run courses. I run courses if people want to learn. I think there's quite a lot of people out there doing it now. But you just got to get out and get your finger on the trigger and take as many as you can and make the mistakes.
And I think certainly as one of George's, what do you call me? Student. Thank you. That's the word. Student. Yeah. That was, and because obviously it's a 1-to-1, it's not a group class or anything. So, it's that I found that obviously I'm getting the time to me. George wasn't having to try and split his time over 5 or 6 of us that had all paid for the session. It was my session and it was helping me understand it. But what I really liked about what you did, George, was you just, apart from like explain a few bits and pieces on the camera, then you just let me get on with it and just try things and just do different stuff. And that's what I quite liked about it, rather than like, well, you must always do something like that. And when you do this shot, it's always you do it like that. It was like, just play around with these. Just have a go and see what happens. Yeah. And that's what I really liked.
Sorry. I think once you have an understanding on how to work your camera, because a lot of people don't know how to work. Once you have that understanding, it is about, like I was giving you challenges. So it's then getting you, there's no point in me holding your hand because I'm not going to be with you the whole time. So it's about giving you that foundation to work from and then give you that, sorry, the dogs walked in.
I always say dogs are welcome on the biscuits.
Oh, no, do you want to say hello? This is Nira. Come on in. This is Nira.
Hey. Say hello, doggo. Hello, Nira.
I can't hold your hand the whole time. So it's giving you challenges and then trying to get you to make the mistakes and then like come back to me and say, okay, this is what I've done. How can I make it better? Or how do I make it do this? You've got an idea.
Yeah. Because I think turning people around, because obviously I'm probably not unique at all in this, but when I first went, I've got a digital camera. It's always in auto. Was. It's not anymore. It's not anymore after my lesson. But yeah, it was always in auto because it's okay. I can zoom in and get really good pictures, but I'll let the camera do it all. But actually, now that I've started playing around with it and more, you can see that auto isn't really a good thing, actually, because it doesn't really take very good pictures at all compared to, like, obviously the new way that I'm playing around with it.
Makes a difference. Definitely
Yeah, big time.
Hold on a second. Right, does this work with your phone? I know. I don't want to do this. Compare a phone to a DSLR, but can you? If I started taking pictures of my phone out of auto, do you reckon I'd take better photos if I learned the trade? If I learned it?
Yeah, it's maybe not as user friendly. It takes a little bit more setting up because, like on a DSLR, you can just roll a wheel and you can adjust things really, really quickly. Whereas on a phone, you have to swap between menus and things. But in theory, you can do pretty much everything that you could do on a DSLR on a phone.
Scary. It's scary.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is scary, actually. I came across like this technology stuff. So you know the recoloring that I do? I've come across websites now that uses an algorithm. You download the photo onto the website and it analyzes the photo, the black and white spectrum on the photo, and then it kind of uses historical reference photos to work out what something could be in the photo, and then it applies color to it automatically to color the photo like a black and white photo. And it's not particularly good at it at the minute. It will kind of work out that, like a simple portrait, for example, they'll kind of work out there's a rough skin tone color there, maybe the background's green, that sort of thing. But I don't think it'll be long. I don't think it'll be long till
Yeah, but then you can start putting things like hand colored on your thing. Like,
yeah, true, exactly.
I mean, you get the authentic touch. Like, I mean, I was always I'm not obsessed with World War II. I'm not. I like watching documentaries about World War II and movies. I think it's fascinating, and the World at War in color and 4K.
Oh yeah. It's amazing.
it's brilliant. I love it so much. Because like, when we were growing up, we had that in black and white, and you had to sort of guess. But no, when you watch it now, it's kind of like, oh, things with that color.
That's pretty amazing.
That's the other thing is the research. It'll take me, let's say, a basic portrait. It'll probably take me between an hour to maybe a really detailed portrait, maybe an hour to 3 hours per photo. That's just on the recoloring, so the actual recoloring. But you have to go and find those colors. So you have to go and find, let's say, like I did one of the little Australian First World War portrait. I have to go and find the badge, like a reference photo of the badge on his cap. I've got to find the right color for his uniform. I've got to find the right color for his shirt. So there's hours go into the pre-work just to check that it's going to be all right. And actually, a lot of people get angry because they're like, "Oh, that color's not right." No, well, I'm sorry. There's only one photo of this badge. I don't know.
Do you get a lot of people sending you pictures then, sort of to recolor?
Yeah, steady at the minute. I've kind of taken the foot off the gas with the recoloring because I'm trying to push the bushcraft. But it's steady, and I'm trying to keep the skill sort of active, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's good fun. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
I think you're awesome. I feel like I've made a new friend today because we could geek out about stuff now. Like, this is great. Like,
geek out.
We can have a geek out, yeah. But
and I want to know when the next challenge is coming.
Oh, I was actually going to reply to that tomorrow. I thought, I'll give you guys a little bit longer because.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll put a post out on the group.
Oh, what a day! What a day! I've been doing this since 10 o'clock without a break. Literally, I've finished the show.
I can't believe you're still not planning breaks in properly for yourself.
I'd rather get it done. I'm enjoying it.
I know you would, yeah.
I can smell dinner. My wife is amazing, by the way. She's awesome. I want to say thank you to her. She can't hear me at the moment, I don't think. But so I'm not saying this for brownie points at all. She's been amazing, honestly. She's all day I've done this. And she's been bringing me coffee. She's making me dinner right now. She's been great, looking after the boy. And so I want to say thank you to her because it's a long day, but we enjoy these open studio because I think it's important. It's important to not just be like, "Hi, you want to come on the biscuit and talk about your business?" But like, here is a day where you can talk about anything.
Anything.
Come on the show.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
And you've probably got you sucked tonight as well, haven't you?
I do, but I can have a few beers and throw a few F-bombs in there. So we were all right.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been really good. You're welcome back on any time, man. We'd love to talk about it. I really want to talk to you about your survival stuff. I really do, actually. I'd love to come and see it. We'd love to.
I mean, fingers crossed. I should have a site up and running. Everything's set up. Facebook page, website, everything's ready to rock. Insurance, but just that site. So if anyone knows anyone, feel free to get in touch. It'll be lovely.
Did you have any joy? Did you have any joy with the ones I passed over to you? I know there was one, wasn't it? There was one lady.
So, got in touch with her. She passed on my number to the farmer who owns it.
Yeah.
She also gave me his number, but his number is incorrect or something.
Oh,
it
okay,
just closed. So I'm waiting. I don't.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, it's just say as long as you get something.
But how can people get in touch with you, George?
They can. It's either message me on Facebook if they can find me. They can message me on my photography page, Shropshire Bushcraft page. They could send me a message to my phone, which is 07508 967 835. Lots of anyway. Carrier pigeon, smoke signals.
Smoke signals, yeah.
So if people wanted to find you on Facebook without obviously coming onto your personal page, what's your photography page and what's your bushcraft page actually called?
My photography is George Bilcliffe Photography and Editing, and the bushcraft is Shropshire Bushcraft.
Shropshire Bushcraft, brilliant. Is that a live page, that one?
They are both live and active. We even have an Instagram, actually, starting yesterday. Bushcraft Instagram. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my God, I've been setting this show up. Let's get out of here. I'm going to walk up to Aldi, buy a load of beer, and get ready for my You Suck show tonight. So, George, you've been amazing. Julie, thank you again.
No, pleasure.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your help. It's been lovely.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't it? And I like your lights in your room there, by the way.
Yeah. Best thing is you get so you can just like change the colour.
It's one there.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Depending on the mood.
From Jedi to Sith, I like it.
Yeah.
I want to say a huge thank you to all of our guests today. These episodes are going to run right through the week. We're going to do one every single day. I want to say also a huge thank you to my biscuiteers that I've put up. It's gone smoothly today, actually. There hasn't been any problem. I literally did this with a whiteboard and Excel. That's it. That's all we did today, and it ran smoothly. So thank you very much to Jules, to Shane, and to Dee Dee. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Make sure you check out our website, guys, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that is made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you do need a website, make sure you go to Web Orchard because they're awesome and they make great websites. And if you want to get in touch with us, we have got an idea. We've got an idea. We're going to start streaming things onto our Facebook, YouTube. But I've got an idea for a virtual sort of marketplace. I'm going to do it every sort of couple of weeks. We're going to invite traders to come on a 3-hour show or something live on Facebook, and they can talk about what they trade. They can maybe offer some sort of deals, sort of like codes while we're recording. Talk about what they do. Send people to their websites. Everything would be good fun, I think. So if you want to get involved with that, go to the website, get in touch. George, you've been brilliant. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Catch you guys next time. Peace out.